to talk to us about the Global Talent Visa. Okay, I knew about it before I came to the United Kingdom, but I didn't really have a lot of information about it. For everyone who will be listening to us today, most of the things I'm going to be sharing with us, you can find it on gov.uk, this website link here. There are various routes into on the Global Talent Visa. Prior to now, I was familiar with the tech route because my husband had tried to apply for the Global Talent Visa in 2022. He's a product manager, but he wasn't successful. Okay, so I knew about that. And yes, I knew there were other ways of getting the Global Talent Visa, but I didn't really have information on it until it happened to me. So I just want us to know that you can apply for Global Talent Visa through various routes, through academia and research, through arts and culture, and through the digital pathway, which I just explained to you that, we had tried prior to now. So we didn't really know about these other routes. And of course, at least you have to be 18 years and above. So let's go to the next slide. So the one that I got is Global Talent Visa through academia or research. And you are able to have this if you work in academia or research. You may be eligible for it. And one important thing I would want to say here is I've actually seen people who got this visa who were not in the United Kingdom, because a lot of times people think that it's only people in United Kingdom that may be able to get these visas. In fact, I've met about 2 or 3 people who got this visa from outside the United Kingdom. So it is actually not restricted to people who live here. It's just for us to know that. And for academia or research, which is the route that I'm going to be talking to us about, because that is the one I know right now. So it's dependent on the organization that hired you and the conditions of your employment. So for academia or research, you might be eligible if you're working in any of these fields that are outlined below here. You could be in science, in medicine, engineering, humanities, social science, or if you won an eligible award. So if you want to know more about these eligible awards, if you click on this link, you'll be able to read about them. Next slide. So still on that, talking about the eligibility, I've also dropped us a link here if you want more information about the eligibility. But basically, you may be eligible if you had a job offer as an academia or in research, or you have fellowship, maybe you came into the UK. Yes, Uche now be able to share that, or I'm just going through the slides now. He has the slides, so he'll be dropping all those links for you from his own end now.
Okay.
You have a research grant that is approved by UKRI, or you have an eligible award. So in the previous slide, I already shared a link that you could look at what these eligible awards are. But in my case, I was able to get it under academia or research because I had a research grant that was approved by UKRI. Okay, I was doing a job that had a grant, okay, from UKRI. So let's move to the next slide. So still on the GTV through academia or research, I'm still discussing the eligibility. Now, your grants, which I'm like throwing more light on the one that I did. So these grants it must have been awarded by an organization on the list of endorsed funders. So this link here, if you click on it, it's going to show you who these endorsed funders are. if you work in an organization that any of these funders have given you the grant, you should be eligible. Now, for you to do that, you have to at least you have to have at least 1 year left on your employment contract or hosting agreement, and the grant amount should be at least $30,000 and covers about 2 years. Okay, so the nature of the job I'm on has these conditions, and that was what made it possible for me to apply for the Global Talent Visa. So let's move to the next slide. The next slide. Yeah, so how did I get the Global Talent Visa? So for me, I got a job with the University of Derby. That was April this year. And it was advertised on Indeed, just like every other job. In fact, I was even checking my mails recently and I saw that I had applied to a similar job in the past, but I didn't get it. So these jobs come in the form of, you see a job application or advert, sorry, and you see something like KTP associate. Now, at the time I was applying for this thing, I didn't know what all that was about. Just like every one of us, I was just applying for jobs, okay? So I saw that role and applied for it. So what is KTP? What does it mean? So KTP means Knowledge Transfer Partnership. If you want to read up about it, you will go on this link. Uchenna will share with us in the chat. So it's a job that is a three-way collaboration between you. So you are hired, you are called the associate. Then the university, like in my case, I was hired by the University of Derby. So that's the second partner. And then I am deployed to work for a company. So, excuse me. So on the project I am working on, I am recruited by the university, but I'm deployed to work for a company partner. So that's the way all KTP jobs are. It is a three-way partnership, and the United Kingdom, the United Kingdom. Why do you want the copy of this slide? Let's just continue. We'll get to that. So, so the United Kingdom has set up this kind of structure where the universities would be supporting companies in United Kingdom. So they called it like a knowledge transfer, where the knowledge in the university environment is not just going within us. We have to take it to improve what's going on in the companies in United Kingdom. So this is what the funder, in my case, UKRI, is funding. So they are funding projects like this. So where there is this kind of partnership, they would they provided funding for that. So let's move to the next slide. Next slide, Uche. So yeah, so I was trying to share how I got this. So in April, I got this job, and when I was applying for it, it said that I was entitled to a tier 2 sponsorship. Actually, that was my attraction when I applied for it. And I had just moved from my graduate visa in February this year. And because the terms of my sponsorship, being a 2-year contract with the university, meant that they were just going to be able to sponsor me for 2 years. But I also knew that after the 2 years term of the project, the company I am working for is supposed to hire me, and maybe then, okay, they should be able to sponsor me. So I wasn't very, very clear on the sponsorship conversation. So I wasn't really in a hurry to move to the sponsored visa, because I felt it was just, going to expire in the same time as my my graduate visa. So I wasn't in a hurry. So I was just doing my job, okay? And while I was still trying to consider, because I was asking a lot of questions around the whole tier two, and also trying to see if, I was going to get something longer, I found out through one of my engagements with an advisor that the nature of the job I'm doing would actually allow me to apply for the Global Talent Visa because of the conditions that I explained to us earlier on. So in my case, this project was being funded by UKRI. It was an endorsed funder, and the work I was doing was in research and academia, and the project funds were in excess of £30,000. I mean, it was in line with the requirement for me to apply. And on finding that out, I decided to go for it, okay, instead of the tier two sponsorship. So that was how I started the process. And I switched to the Global Talent Visa, and I got the endorsement. And the beauty of this route is that the endorsement happens very fast. Like in my case, if you have any understanding of how the global talent visas work, so you have to be, there are two stages. Your first stage is to get your endorsement decision by the endorsing body. In my case, it was UKRI. So I got the decision in about 2 weeks. Then after the decision, you get the decision, then you can now apply for the visa. Okay, so that's how it works. So my endorsement happened very quickly. In fact, they call it fast track. I don't know why they call it fast track anyways, but that's the way it's called. So it happened so fast, faster than I imagined. And within about a month or thereabouts, I was able to conclude the whole process. Yeah. So next slide. Now, talking about the KTP associate job. So what I can say to us is if anyone is thinking about this route through the research and academia, if you want to be eligible for the global talent, one of the things you can do is to look for this kind of jobs. But the questions that people keep asking me is, does every KTP associate job give you the global talent visa? Honestly, I am not in a position to answer that because, like I explained to you, there are conditions around um, you getting the global talent visa under the research and academia. So if the job that you're getting is not meeting those conditions, because I don't know, different organizations would have different conditions of their job, but I would say this is one place to look for these things. And from here, we can see that over 7,000 organizations worldwide are throwing in jobs into this thing. The United Kingdom is pumping in a lot of money into research in this area. So this is one place to search. Next slide. Yeah, so I try to spool current roles in KTP roles that I saw as at today. Like here, you have something for a carbon researcher, you have something for robotics research engineer, there are just a whole lot of things. There is something here for a data scientist. So it's just for you to launch this link and search to see if you have any training. And it doesn't even have to be what you have studied. It could be some experience you've had before now. You might just be lucky to find something that you have been doing prior to this time, and you just throw in your application and see how it goes. Yeah, next slide. So I was trying to explain before that do all KTP associate roles qualify for Global Talent Visa? I cannot say because I am not the recruiter. I am not the people that would that putting these jobs together. But I know that a lot of those roles, if you are lucky to have your job being funded by any of those organizations in those links, there is a high chance that you would be able to apply if you get the jobs. So, like I said, it's dependent on the endorsing body and the employer. Because I've also met someone who is a KTP associate like me, and he hasn't been able to apply for the global talent because his employer, though they gave him the sponsored, they are offering him the sponsored visa, but he said he wanted the global talent, and they told him that if he wants to do the global talent, he would have to route it through tech. And I don't know why, because I don't know if it had to do with the nature of his job, or I don't know the reasons why, but he wasn't going to be able to do it through the academia and research pathway for reasons I don't know. And if anyone has ever tried the Tech Nation route, I don't know. There's just a whole lot of documentation required. So the young man doesn't want to go through that stress because it's a whole lot of documentation that he needs to provide. Yes, and that's one other thing that I didn't mention. So this academia and research route compared to the Tech Nation, because my husband had done the Tech Nation, yeah, the documentation is not, is not that much. In fact, your documentation is the document that was used to apply for the grant, so it's even the university that will provide those things for you. You practically have to do very little or nothing to do this route. So yes, so that is it. I think that should be the next slide before I can start taking our questions. Yeah. So let me see some questions that people have asked. Yeah. What job was that? Could you please throw more light on the nature of the job? You mean the job I got? Someone asked this question. Onyeka. So the nature of my job, my role, the nature of the job I got was I'm working as the Green Finance Business Development Manager. Okay. So you would as well call it's business development. That's the nature of my job. And I even remember the lady who was talking to me about the global talent. She wasn't even very sure that I was going to get the endorsement. She just said I would have to just try my luck and be able to defend, myself with the documents that they can provide for me. Yeah, so I'm working as business development manager in my role. So that's the nature of job I got. And because I have the experience before now, that was what I was doing back home. So let me see other questions. Can we can you get a KTP job based on front end development or mobile development? Honestly, you would have to look at those you have to do that search. But for front end developers, that thing sounds to me like tech. It sounds to me like tech. Because this work under academia, for a front end, it looks more like tech. The nature of jobs for this are more research based. My job is more research based, so there's a whole lot of research I have to do to do my job. So for a front end developer, I don't really think I'm not sure. You just need to search. You just need to search those links to see what they have there. And as a front end person, if there's any role there that you think you can do with your front end experience, but I think that front end development is more likely tech. I would advise you just look at how to do tech, the Tech Nation side of it. Okoye Ikechukwu. Yeah, I think yours is tech. Are these all the questions? Everywhere is so quiet. I hope, was I not making sense in my presentation?
You were making great sense. Do we have questions to ask?
Do you have yeah. I think yeah, you can get a copy of the slides if Uchenna wants to share it.
Do we have questions to ask?
But it's quiet. You don't think you want to try this route? It doesn't sound appealing, right?
I think Oluwafemi Oni, you have your hands up. You can ask your question.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, I kind of missed out on the presentation and I got in a bit late. Sorry about that. But I kind of picked up that you are doing a bit of what should I call it? You're separating it. I thought the global talent is there a different one to the tech side because I work in tech and I'm just trying to understand why you seem to think go for the tech side or go for some other part of it, just so I understand at least to get started.
I don't know, for some reason, I don't know why I'm hearing it at my end in a muffled way. Want to help me type what he said, Uchenna?
Femi, can you go a bit louder?
No, no, you can. He can type it. Let me look at what about the post-work study visa? Is it almost related?
No, it's not.
Work study visa.
It's entirely different.
That's a terminal visa. Once your 2 years expires, you're going home. Yeah, it's not related at all.
Oluwafemi, can you please take your question again or type it on the and put it on the chat?
Okay.
Can you share on how long DBS? What's DBS? DBS? I didn't get any DB. What's DBS? Sorry.
Disclosure of barren service.
Background checks, basically.
I didn't do that.
Is my can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, we can hear you better now.
Okay, sorry about that. I think I swapped out my headphones now. So I've been making some bits of research over time about global talent, but I missed out on the beginning. So pardon me if it's something you've mentioned initially, but I kind of picked up on your response to some questions where you said go for the tech part or go for some other part of it. So I'm wondering, is there a different part of the tech of the global talents visa or thereabouts? Then also, I think a few months back. Maybe you want to answer that first before I go for the second question.
Yes. So on the various routes, I didn't discuss there are different routes into the global talent.
Yeah.
And I'm not knowledgeable about all of them. So
Okay.
I decided to speak on the one that I did. My husband had the tech route. He did it, not me. I don't know. I can't tell you that I know what he did, but I just know that he had loads of documents he was gathering. It took him once, yes, to do those things. And he was also denied. So I can't even say that he knows what he did because I've gotten the endorsement. Yeah. So there are different routes. So it's either you're on the tech. So I spoke on research and academia, which is the one I
I have never been in academia. I've always been an industry person. So, yeah.
Sorry, when you say industry, how do you mean?
So, for example, I've worked in IC admin and cybersecurity, and I worked in cybersecurity before coming for my MSc. I've graduated and I'm currently working also in a cybersecurity role. I work with the government. So I've never academia, teaching, and everything or research based, whatever, has never really been anything I've had experience with or worked in.
Okay, that should not, don't disqualify yourself before you get the job. So I have never worked in academia in my whole life too. I'm not a lecturer. I've never taught in school. All my life, bulk of my life has been the business development. So I would say that I'm like you in the
Okay.
industry. I worked in the bank and other sectors. In fact, the only experience that I had in the university was when I came here, because I took a brief job with my university as a student. So that was my first time of ever working in the university environment. So I'm also like you. I don't want us to cut ourselves to remove ourselves from this opportunity even before we try. So, and that's why I said the best thing will be to look at the openings. There are just a whole lot of openings, and if you can monitor them often, because those jobs, they just keep pushing them out, you may just be able to find something. So it has nothing to do with whether you have been in the university. If that was a criteria, I would never be picked because I don't have that experience myself. Yeah.
Olufemi, don't worry, the recording will be available for you to
Thank you very much.
to listen. Yeah. She mentioned, I know where you're heading to, but it's something she has already answered or talked through during the presentation. I saw one other hand raised up. You have a second question, right?
Okoye, you had a second question. Yeah.
Yes, I did. Sorry. I said it was waiting for go to finish up. Okay, sure. I was trying to say, based on the post-work visa, you said it's not the same thing, right, with the post-work visa?
Post-work visa
Yeah, once you're done with school, you get a 2 years post-work visa.
is not the same. The post-work visa is what you get after your study visa, and the
Okay.
post-work visa is just 2 years, right?
Yeah.
The reason why we're giving a post-work visa is for us to find a job that will sponsor us. Did you know that?
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So the post-work visa is a terminal visa. What I mean is, once it ends, it ends. You can't really extend it. But a global talent visa is different, because a global talent visa is like also having, okay, let me explain to you the difference and why you need to really think about it. Now everybody talks about the skilled worker visa, which is the tier 2 visa, which on that visa, a company is sponsoring you to,
Okay.
like we were sponsored as students to come here. So here now you're working and your company gives you 3 years, 5 years, as the case may be, which is counting towards your ILR. A global talent visa is also counting towards your ILR. Do you understand? But your post-work study visa is not counting towards anything. It's not counting towards your ILR. That's the first
What
thing.
is the IR?
Towards ILR is your indefinite stay, towards your stay. If you're thinking,
Indefinite leave to remain.
if you're
Okay.
of staying back, except you're thinking of going back, if you're thinking of staying, your sponsored visa and this visa is counting towards that. Do you
Okay.
understand? So that is one thing. Then another advantage of the global talent visa that the tier 2 visa does not have is that you are
Not tied to an employer.
are not under any sponsor, in quotes. And because you're not, when you have a tier 2 visa, if you want to change your job, you would have to find another sponsor. Do you know that?
No, I don't
Yeah.
know that.
We need to find another sponsor to keep you in the system. But a global talent visa does not require that of you. If you want to take another job, you are free to take another job without a fear of a sponsor. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I get what you mean.
Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So, I mean, that's these two reasons. That's the reason it's not the same as post-work study. They are not the same at all. There is actually the post-work study just gives you the opportunity to be in the system and find a more stable form of visa.
So for your KTP, can you do an intern for it, or
Can you
you
be an
require?
intern? Can you be an intern?
Yes,
Uh,
or maybe a junior position.
junior position.
Yeah,
Why do you want to do an intern or junior position work?
because it's most easier to get in as a tech person.
He
To
said,
find a senior position is the easiest way to get into a tech industry. But to get into a senior position in an industry, you need to have some amount of experiences, not just based on your personal projects. Because I've tried applying for top-notch companies for senior positions, but they always ask for that higher experience based on jobs, but they always approve my projects because they're always good. But it's mostly the experience you need. So without it, you can't get into a senior position.
okay, I haven't seen an intern role in KTP, and KTP jobs are not senior positions they are not that senior. So I think
So
that
it's like an intermediate job then.
yeah, so I think that if you find something that you have the skill for and you think you can do it, you can actually apply. Do you understand? Yeah, I think you can actually apply, but I haven't seen anything about intern. I've not seen any role that is talking about intern there yet. But if you see an opportunity that you think that you have experience in, no matter how small, I think you should be able to apply for it.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let me help you there too. So KTP jobs, they're not looking for perfect people. And like in my case, I have supervisors who help me to deliver on my job. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
in a way, what you're looking for, if you're thinking about something that would help you, cushion your effect on the job, if you're not feeling too confident, I think that this is something you can think about because you're not left out there to just do it yourself. You have people that are guiding you, and that's why it is called knowledge transfer. So it's not hiring you because you know everything. In fact, you just need that little you have is enough already. You understand? So
Yes.
someone is wrong.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's hiring you because they have seen some level of competency on your CV, and after your they've interviewed you, they think you can do something. But
Sorry, you said something about CV right now. So on my CV, can you mention some Nigerian companies you have worked for, or is strictly the United Kingdom companies?
yeah, they know that you came here. Okay, you were not here when I started. I started by saying that people have been hired from their countries. I've met Indians, Pakistanis, or I don't know how to, people from other countries,
Yes.
South Africa. I met
Mhm.
a lady who was hired from South Africa. So
Wow.
this opportunity is not even for you that is in UK. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. People outside United
Okay.
Kingdom are being hired to take them. So these are global opportunities. I mean, these opportunities are out there for people to take them from anywhere they are. As long as they can prove after their interview or during their interview that they can do the job. So anywhere you are, so it doesn't matter what is on your CV. If you don't have a UK experience, it's not an issue. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yes, I get. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Chioma, for your time this evening. I mean, the first time I heard you in your last night, I mean, I was so amazed. I mean, this is a pathway that most of our immigrants, let's say students in the UK, don't have little knowledge about. But I believe you're doing a great job, and with time, we'll have a larger audience of people, making good use of this information. Thank you so much for honoring our time. From the audience, do we have any other questions before we allow Choma to go enjoy her weekend? I'm sure she has had a very busy week.
Sorry, I'm actually typing the question, but just so just to make it faster, is there a time limit you can work for? So if you get the KTP job or thereabout, do you have to work with them for like a number of period before you can leave or thereabouts?
Why are you thinking about leaving already when you've not gotten I'm just wondering.
I think I understand where he's coming from. I think it's based on the pay. If the pay is not
Thank
much,
you
you
very
should
much.
be thinking of moving out,
So
obviously.
I'm seeing some of the pay. I'm seeing 20, 30.
Okay, let me say something about that. The way it works is that the period of your project, after the project, you are supposed to be hired by the company if they are happy with you and your work, and that pay you're seeing there is not the pay you'll be earning. Do you understand? So it's more like just to answer the question Okoye asked, you are you're working, but you're being trained to work in that company, sort of, to understand the way the company works. So when eventually you're hired by the company, now you're hired by the university to do the work, to help with the transfer of the knowledge from the university into the company. So that thing you've been developing, eventually you are going to continue to do the work with the company, and you're going to be on a different payroll. All right, bye.